The battle was not over yet. Nexus Prime still had one last card to play, and it was the cruelest one of all. Admiral Jin Ho watched from his bridge as the Iron Swarm leader's ship moved toward New Kepler. The cyborg warlord had stopped running. Instead, he was heading straight for the planet where millions of Thrakari still lived. "What is he doing?" Captain Mi Young asked. Lieutenant Dong Wook checked his sensors and felt his blood turn cold. "Admiral, his ship is charging a planet-killer weapon. He's going to destroy New Kepler rather than let us save it." Jin Ho's hands tightened into fists. This was the Iron Swarm's final cruelty. If they could not have the planet, no one could. They would kill millions of innocent people just to deny the humans their victory. "All ships intercept Nexus Prime," Jin Ho ordered. "Stop him at any cost," but they were too far away. Nexus Prime's ship would reach firing position before the human fleet could catch him. The planet-killer weapon was already glowing with deadly energy. Commander Jaewon's voice crackled over the radio from his ship, the Eternal Guardian. "Admiral, I'm closest to the target. I can get there in time." "Negative, Jaewon. Your ship can't survive a direct hit from that weapon." "Maybe not, sir, but I can get between him and the planet." "Buy you time to stop him?" Jin Ho felt his heart break. Jaewon was asking permission to die. The Eternal Guardian was a good ship with a brave crew, but it was not built to survive a weapon that could crack a planet in half. "Jaewon, there has to be another way." "Admiral," Jaewon said quietly, "my grandfather died fighting in Korea. My father died fighting in the asteroid wars. This is what humans do. We stand between the innocent and the darkness." Before Jin Ho could stop him, the Eternal Guardian broke away from the fleet and raced toward Nexus Prime's ship. The human vessel pushed its engines beyond safe limits, desperate to reach the cyborg warlord before he could fire. On the planet below, Chithan looked up at the sky and saw a new star growing brighter. The Iron Swarm's planet killer was charging up, preparing to turn his world into burning dust. "Everyone into the deep shelters," he called to his people. But he knew the shelters would not help. When the weapon fired, there would be nothing left of New Kepler but asteroids. The Eternal Guardian reached Nexus Prime just as the planet killer finished charging. Jaewon positioned his ship directly between the weapon and New Kepler. His crew stood at their stations ready to die to save people they had never met. "This is Commander Jaewon to all Thrakari on New Kepler," he said over the radio. "You are not alone. Humans stand with you." Nexus Prime fired. The planet-killer weapon released enough energy to vaporize a moon. It struck the Eternal Guardian and tore through the ship's armor like it was tissue paper. The human vessel began to break apart, its hull glowing white-hot. But the Eternal Guardian did not die quietly. As the ship was destroyed, its crew kept working. They rerouted power to the shields, strengthened the hull with emergency supports, and did everything they could to absorb the deadly energy. For precious seconds, the Eternal Guardian held together. The planet-killer beam struck the ship and stopped. New Kepler was safe behind the wall of human sacrifice. Then the Eternal Guardian exploded in a ball of light that could be seen from orbit. Admiral Jin Ho watched his friend die and felt rage like nothing he had ever experienced. Jaewon had been a good man with a family back on Earth. He had died to save aliens he had never spoken to. "All ships," Jin Ho said, his voice deadly calm. "Destroy Nexus Prime, now." The remaining human ships converged on the Iron Swarm leader like wolves on a wounded deer. Their weapons fired again and again, pouring energy into the cyborg ship. Nexus Prime tried to fight back, but his vessel was already damaged from firing the planet killer. Captain Subin's assault carrier, the Iron Phoenix, got close enough for boarding action. "Admiral, request permission to take prisoners. We need answers about Iron Swarm operations." "Granted," Jin Ho said. "But be careful. These cyborgs are dangerous even when they're defeated." Subin's boarding teams cut through the hull of Nexus Prime's ship and fought their way inside. The corridors were filled with smoke and sparks. Dead cyborgs lay everywhere, their metal bodies twisted and broken. Sergeant Bora led her squad toward the command center. The Iron Swarm soldiers who were still alive tried to stop them, but human soldiers were trained to fight in conditions that would kill most species. Smoke and radiation and toxic air were just part of the job. They found Nexus Prime in his command center, badly injured but still alive. Half his mechanical body had been destroyed by the battle damage. He looked up at Bora with his remaining red eye. "What are you creatures?" he asked. "No species fights like this. No one risks everything for strangers." Bora looked down at the cyborg who had tried to commit genocide rather than accept defeat. "We're humans," she said. "We come from a world that taught us to protect the weak and stand up to bullies." "Impossible," Nexus Prime whispered. "No world is that harsh. No environment could create warriors like you." "You're wrong," Bora said. "Our world didn't just create warriors. It created people who care about others. Earth taught us that the strong should protect the weak, not prey on them." Back on New Kepler, the Thrakari slowly came out of their shelters. The bright light in the sky was gone. The planet killer had been stopped. They were alive because humans they had never met had chosen to die for them. Chithan stood in the ruins of his city and looked up at the stars. Somewhere up there, human ships were cleaning up the last of the Iron Swarm. The attack was over. His people were free. But freedom had come at a terrible price. A human ship had been destroyed saving them. Good people had died so that the Thrakari could live. "We owe them everything," another Thrakari said. "Yes," Chithan agreed. "But how do you repay someone for giving their life?" Commander Hyojun's voice came over the radio from the human fleet. He had been working to establish better communication with the planet. "This is the Earth fleet to New Kepler. How are you people down there?" Chithan picked up the radio with shaking hands. "We are alive because of you, but we know you lost a ship to save us. We know people died." There was silence for a moment. Then Hyojun said, "That's what humans do. We protect people who can't protect themselves." Jaewon knew the risks. He made his choice, but why? Chithan asked. Why would anyone die for strangers? Hyojun thought about the question. He thought about Earth with its storms and earthquakes and predators. He thought about how humans had learned to work together because the world was too dangerous to face alone. "Because we're all the same under our skin," he said finally. "You have families you love. You have children you want to protect. You have dreams for the future, so do we. When someone threatens those things, humans can't just stand by and watch." Captain Mi Young was monitoring communications from across the galaxy. Word of the battle was already spreading. The Iron Swarm had been defeated by a species no one had heard of. 12 ships had destroyed a fleet of 50. "Admiral," she reported, "we're getting messages from dozens of alien governments. They want to know who we are and where we come from." Jinho looked tired. The battle was won, but at a heavy cost. "What kind of messages?" "Mixed, sir. Some are grateful. They've had problems with the Iron Swarm, too. Others are concerned. They're afraid of a species that can build weapons like ours." Jinho understood. Humans had just announced themselves to the galaxy by winning an impossible battle. Some aliens would see them as saviors. Others would see them as a threat. "Set course for Earth," he ordered. "We need to report to command. The secret is out now. The galaxy knows humans exist." As the human fleet prepared to leave New Kepler, the Thrakari gathered in their main city. Thousands of them stood in the rubble, looking up at the sky where their rescuers were preparing to depart. Chithan spoke for all his people. "Humans of Earth," he said over the radio, "we will never forget what you did for us. You are welcome on our world for as long as stars shine." Admiral Jinho's voice came back warm and tired. "Take care of yourselves, friends. And remember, when good people call for help, humans will always answer." The human fleet jumped into hyperspace and disappeared among the stars. Behind them, they left a changed galaxy. The Iron Swarm was broken. The Thrakari were free, and everyone now knew that somewhere in the cosmos, on a world called Earth, lived a species that would cross the galaxy to help strangers in need. But they also knew that these same humans had weapons and ships that could destroy entire fleets. The question that would haunt alien governments for years to come was simple. What kind of world created people like that? The first Iron Swarm attack came fast and hard. 25 enemy ships moved toward the human fleet like angry wasps, their weapons charged with bright energy as they prepared to destroy the newcomers. Admiral Jinho watched them approach on his main screen. "All ships prepare for combat. Remember, we're not just fighting for ourselves. We're fighting for people we've never met who asked us for help." Captain Mi Young sat at her tactical station, her fingers dancing over the controls. "Admiral, the Iron Swarm ships are fast but lightly armored. Their strategy seems to be hit hard and move away quickly." "That works against most species," Jinho said. "But humans don't back down from a fight." The Iron Swarm ships opened fire first. Bright beams of energy streaked across space toward the human fleet. The beams hit the thick armor of the human ships and exploded in brilliant flashes. When the light faded, all 12 human ships were still there. Their armor was scorched but not broken. Red warning lights flickered on some bridges, but no ship was seriously damaged. Lieutenant Dongwook smiled as he watched his weapon systems come online. "Admiral, their weapons are designed to scare peaceful species. Against our armor, they're like throwing rocks at a tank." "Return fire," Jinho ordered. The human ships fired back. Their weapons were not designed to scare anyone. They were designed to destroy anything that threatened Earth. The energy beams that came from the human ships were 3 times more powerful than anything the Iron Swarm had ever seen. The first Iron Swarm ship to get hit simply disappeared. The human weapon went through its armor like it was paper and vaporized everything inside. The second ship lasted a few seconds longer before it exploded in a ball of fire. On board the Iron Swarm command ship, Nexus Prime watched 2 of his vessels die in the first exchange. His metal face showed no emotion, but inside his computerized brain warning signals flashed. "Analysis?" he demanded. His tactical officer, a cyborg with half a face, stared at the data. "Lord Prime, their weapons are impossible. No peaceful species builds weapons this powerful." "What about their defenses?" "Heavier than our main battle cruisers, Lord Prime, and they seem to have multiple backup systems for everything." Nexus Prime felt something he had not experienced in decades. Fear. These humans were not merchants or miners. They were warriors from a species that had learned to build weapons and armor as if their lives depended on it. The space battle continued around New Kepler. The Iron Swarm ships tried their usual tactics. They would attack fast, do damage, and then retreat to safety. But the human ships would not stay damaged. Even when Iron Swarm weapons punched through their armor, the human vessels kept fighting. Commander Hyojun worked frantically in the engine room of the Indomitable Spirit. His ship had taken 3 direct hits, but all the important systems still worked. "Backup power to weapons," he called to his crew. "Reroute life support through the secondary systems." On Earth, Hyojun had learned to build things that could survive earthquakes and hurricanes and asteroid strikes. In space, those same skills meant building ships that could keep fighting even when they were half destroyed. Captain Subin saw her chance. The Iron Phoenix was built for getting close to enemy ships. While the big battle raged around them, she took her assault carrier toward the planet where more Iron Swarm ships were loading Thrakari prisoners. "Prepare boarding parties," she ordered. "We're going to free those prisoners." Her ship was full of human soldiers. They wore thick armor and carried weapons that could work in any environment. Unlike most species, humans had evolved in a world where they might have to fight in burning deserts or frozen wastelands or poisonous swamps. Human soldiers could fight anywhere. On the planet's surface, Chithan watched the space battle through a broken window. He could not believe what he was seeing. The human ships were not just winning. They were destroying Iron Swarm vessels like they were toys. "How is this possible?" another Thrakari asked. "How can 12 ships beat 50? Chithan thought about the human voice he had heard. Admiral Jinho had sounded calm when he heard they were outnumbered. Most beings would be terrified. But the human had seemed almost happy about it. "Maybe," Chithan said quietly. "They come from a place where being outnumbered is normal." The Iron Phoenix reached the planet and immediately came under attack from Iron Swarm ground defenses. Energy bolts struck the ship's hull, but Captain Subin kept coming. Her ship was built to land on hostile worlds and put soldiers on the ground no matter what was shooting at. The assault carrier smashed through the Iron Swarm's defensive line and landed near their prisoner processing center. The ship's doors opened and human soldiers poured out. Sergeant Bora led the first squad. She was small and quick, but she carried enough weapons to arm 5 normal people. As she ran toward the Iron Swarm facility, enemy soldiers fired at her with energy weapons. The beams hit her armor and she kept running. Earth had taught humans to keep going even when they were hurt. Pain was just information. What mattered was completing the mission. Bora's squad reached the facility and began cutting through the walls with their weapons. Inside, they found hundreds of Thrakari prisoners waiting to be turned into cyborgs. The aliens looked at the human soldiers with amazement. Someone had actually come to save them. "Stay calm," Bora said in broken Thrakari language. "We're here to help. We're going to get you out." Back in space, the main battle was turning into a disaster for the Iron Swarm. Their ships were faster, but the human vessels were like moving fortresses. Every time an Iron Swarm ship tried to run away, The humans would chase it down and destroy it. Lieutenant Dongwook had discovered something interesting about Iron Swarm tactics. "Admiral, they're not used to enemies that chase them. When they retreat, they expect us to let them go." "Bad assumption," Jinho said. "On Earth, when a predator runs away, you chase it until it can't run anymore." Captain Mi Young looked up from her tactical display. "Admiral, we've destroyed 31 enemy ships. The rest are trying to retreat to the outer system. Don't let them," Jinho ordered. "If they escape, they'll just attack some other peaceful world." The human fleet split into 3 groups and began hunting the remaining Iron Swarm ships. It was like watching wolves chase deer. The alien vessels were fast, but they could not run forever. One by one, the human ships caught up and destroyed them. Nexus Prime found himself alone on his command ship, watching his fleet die around him. Half his ships were destroyed. The other half were scattered across the system, running for their lives. He had never seen anything like these humans. They fought like beings who expected every battle to be their last. Their ships were built to survive anything the universe could throw at them. Their weapons were designed to destroy threats completely, not just drive them away. "Lord Prime," his communication officer said, "the humans are sending another message." Nexus Prime almost did not want to hear it. But he had to know what these strange beings wanted. Admiral Jinho's voice came through the speakers, calm and steady. "Nexus Prime, your fleet is destroyed. Your invasion has failed. You have one choice left. Surrender now and we'll let you live to stand trial. Keep fighting, and we'll finish what you started." Nexus Prime looked around his empty bridge. Most of his crew was dead. His ship was damaged and alone. The humans had beaten him completely, for the first time in his long life. The cyborg warlord felt something he thought he had forgotten how to feel: shame. He had been defeated by a species he had never heard of, people who had traveled across the galaxy just to help strangers. "What are you?" he asked over the radio. Jinho's answer was simple. "We're humans. We come from Earth. And when someone asks us for help, we come." On the planet below, Sergeant Bora and her soldiers had freed all the Thrakari prisoners. The aliens looked at their human rescuers with wonder. These strange beings had risked their lives for people they had never met. Chithan approached Bora carefully. "Why?" he asked. "Why did you come so far to help us?" Bora thought about the question. She looked at the Thrakari children clinging to their parents, at the families reunited at the city that could now be rebuilt. "Because you asked," she said simply. "Because you needed help and we could give it." The space battle was over. The Iron Swarm was defeated. And for the first time in galactic history, everyone learned what happened when you sent a distress call that humans could hear. The human fleet moved through space like a pack of metal wolves. Admiral Jinho stood on the bridge of the Indomitable Spirit and watched the stars bend around his ships. The new engines that Hyojun had built could cross vast distances in days instead of years. "Admiral," Captain Mi Young said, "we're getting more signals from New Kepler. The Iron Swarm is landing more ships." Jinho felt anger grow in his chest. Each hour they traveled, more innocent people died. But his ships could only go so fast, even with the best engines in the galaxy. "How many Iron Swarm ships?" he asked. "At least 50, sir. Maybe more. 50 ships against 12. Most alien commanders would turn around and go home." But Jinho just smiled. Humans had always fought against bad odds. It made them creative. Captain Subin's voice came through the communicator from her ship, the Iron Phoenix. "Admiral, my assault teams are ready. We've studied every Iron Swarm ship design we could find. My soldiers know where to hit them." Subin commanded the assault carrier that held most of the fleet's ground troops. She was small and quiet, but her soldiers would follow her into hell if she asked. Her ship was designed to get close to enemy vessels and put human warriors inside them. "Good, Captain," Jinho said. "What about you, Hyojun? Are the ships ready for battle?" The chief engineer's face appeared on screen. His hands were covered in oil and his hair was messy. "The ships are more than ready, Admiral. I've been checking every system twice. Our armor is 3 times thicker than standard alien military ships. Our weapons hit 5 times harder. Why?" Mi Young asked. "Why did we build everything so strong?" Hyojun laughed. "Because we come from Earth, Captain. On Earth, everything tries to kill you. The weather, the ground, the animals, even the plants. So we learned to build things that can't be broken easily." Lieutenant Dongwook, the weapons officer, joined the conversation. "Sir, I've been looking at Iron Swarm battle records. They rely on fear and overwhelming force. They're not used to enemies that fight back hard." "What do you mean?" Jin-Ho asked. They attack peaceful species, sir. Miners, farmers, traders. People who surrender when they see a big fleet. The Iron Swarm has never fought anyone who actually wanted to hurt them. On New Kepler, the situation grew worse by the hour. Chithan hid in the ruins of his city with a group of other Thrakari. Around them, the Iron Swarm's machines dug through buildings looking for survivors. The leader of the attack was Nexus Prime, a creature that had once been alive, but was now more machine than flesh. His metal body was covered in weapons and his red eyes glowed in the dark. He had conquered 17 worlds and turned thousands of beings into cyborgs like himself. Report, Nexus Prime said to his lieutenant, a robot with a female voice. We have captured 60% of the population, Lord Prime. The rest are hiding or dead. Our conversion chambers are working at full capacity. Conversion chambers. Chithan felt sick when he heard those words. That was where the Iron Swarm turned living beings into machines. They cut out parts of the brain and replaced them with computer chips. What came out was no longer truly alive. Excellent, Nexus Prime said. Soon this world will serve the Swarm. Have our scouts found anything valuable in the mines? Yes, Lord Prime, rare metals and energy crystals. Enough to fund our next 3 campaigns. Chithan closed his eyes and tried not to cry. His people had worked for generations to build their peaceful society. Now it would all become fuel for more war and suffering. Suddenly, one of the Iron Swarm's communication officers made a strange noise. Lord Prime, our sensors are detecting something unusual. What? Ships approaching the system. Unknown design. Energy signatures are very high. Nexus Prime walked to the sensor display. What he saw made him pause. The ships coming toward New Kepler were like nothing in his databases. They were built thick and heavy with far more armor than any military vessel he had ever seen. How many ships? He asked. 12, Lord Prime. But their energy output suggests they are heavily armed. Nexus Prime laughed, a sound like grinding metal. 12 ships? Against my 50? Someone is feeling brave today. Or stupid. The human fleet dropped out of faster-than-light travel at the edge of the New Kepler system. Admiral Jin-Ho immediately ordered all sensors to scan the area. Report, he commanded. Captain Mi Young's fingers danced over her controls. I count 53 Iron Swarm vessels, Admiral. They're scattered across the system, but most are in orbit around New Kepler itself. What about the planet? Heavy damage to the main cities, but I'm detecting life signs. Lots of them. The Thrakari are still alive. Jin-Ho felt relief. They were not too late. Commander Hyojun's voice came from the engine room. Admiral, the Iron Swarm ships are scanning us. They're probably wondering what we are. Let them wonder, Jin-Ho said. Open a channel to the Thrakari on New Kepler. After a moment, a weak voice came through the speakers. It was Chithan speaking from his hiding place in the ruins. Who is this? The alien asked. Are you here to help? This is Admiral Jin-Ho of the Earth Defense Fleet, Jin-Ho said. We received your distress call. We're here to help. Chithan felt his heart stop. Earth Defense Fleet? He had never heard of humans or Earth, but someone had come. Someone had actually come to help. How many ships do you have? Chithan asked quietly. 12. There was silence. Then Chittan said, There are more than 50 Iron Swarm ships here. You should run while you still can. Jin-Ho smiled. Friend, humans don't run from bullies. We run toward them. Stay hidden and keep your people safe. This will be over soon. Nexus Prime decided to end the mystery quickly. He sent 3 of his fastest ships toward the human fleet. These were scout vessels, designed to identify unknown enemies and test their strength. The Iron Swarm ships were sleek and fast, built for quick strikes and rapid retreats. They approached the human fleet with confidence. After all, what could 12 unknown ships do against the mighty Iron Swarm? Lieutenant Dong Wook watched the enemy scouts approach on his weapons display. Admiral, 3 Iron Swarm ships are coming toward us. They're scanning our hulls and weapons. Let them look, Jin-Ho said. Maybe they'll learn something. The Iron Swarm scouts finished their scans and sent the data back to Nexus Prime. What they found confused them. The human ships were built like fortress walls that could move through space. Every surface was covered in thick armor. The weapons were huge and powerful, designed to punch through the heaviest defenses. But most strange of all, the ships seemed designed to keep fighting even after taking terrible damage. They had backup systems for their backup systems. Every important part was protected and reinforced. Nexus Prime looked at the scan results with growing unease. These ships were not built by a peaceful species. They were built by people who expected to fight for their lives on a regular basis. Lord Prime, his communication officer, said, "The unknown ships are sending us a message." "Put it through." Jin-Ho's voice filled the Iron Swarm command center. "This is Admiral Jin-Ho of Earth. You are attacking innocent people. Leave this system immediately or we will stop you." Nexus Prime laughed again, but this time it sounded forced. "I am Nexus Prime of the Iron Swarm. You are outnumbered more than 4 to 1. Surrender now and we will make your conversion quick and painless." "Counter-offer," Jin-Ho replied. "Surrender now and we'll let you live." The communication channel went silent. Then Nexus Prime began to laugh for real. No one had ever threatened the Iron Swarm before. These humans would learn what happened to people who stood in his way. "All ships," he commanded, "destroy the intruders." The alien ship drifted in the cold darkness of space. Its lights flickered weak and red. Inside the ship, Veltar pressed his 6 fingers against the communication panel. His blue skin was pale with fear. The Rilani had always been a peaceful people, but today he heard something that made his heart beat fast. "Emergency signal detected," his computer said in a calm voice. "Source unknown. Distance 47 light-years." Veltar listened to the message. It came through the speakers in broken, desperate words. The voice belonged to someone from a species he had never heard before. They called themselves the Thrakari. "Please help us," the voice said. "The Iron Swarm came to our world. They are destroying everything. Our children. They are taking our children. We have little time left. Please, anyone who can hear this message. We are on New Kepler in the Outer Rim. Help us." The message repeated over and over. Veltar felt sick. The Iron Swarm was famous across the galaxy. They were half-machine pirates who stole entire worlds. They turned living beings into robots like themselves. No one could stop them. Veltar sent the message to the Galactic Council. But he knew they would talk for days before doing anything. The Council always talked. They never fought. By the time they decided to help, the Thrakari would all be dead or worse. Far away from Veltar's ship on a space station near Earth, Admiral Jin-Ho stood looking out at the stars. He was a tall man with gray hair and serious eyes. Behind him, Captain Mi-young worked at a computer. She was younger than Jin-Ho with short black hair and quick hands. "Admiral," Mi-young said, "our deep space sensors picked up something strange. It looks like a distress call from aliens." Jin-Ho turned around. For 50 years, humans had listened to space, waiting to hear from other life. They had built secret ships and weapons, preparing for the day they would meet aliens. That day had finally come. "Play it," Jin-Ho said. The desperate voice filled the room. Jin-Ho listened to every word. He had learned many alien languages by studying their radio signals. The Thrakari sounded like they were dying. "What do you think, Captain?" Jin-Ho asked. Mi-young looked at her screens. "The Iron Swarm is real, sir. We've been tracking their attacks for 2 years. They hit worlds on the edge of known space. They take everything and leave nothing alive." Jin-Ho walked to a large window. Earth hung below them like a blue and green jewel. But Jin-Ho knew the truth about his home world. Earth was not a gentle place. It was a world of storms and earthquakes, of ice ages and meteor strikes. Humans had grown strong because their world tried to kill them every day. Other aliens came from safe worlds with calm weather and plenty of food. They built peaceful societies and gentle governments. They had never learned to fight like humans. "Sir," Mi-young said quietly, "if we help them, everyone will know humans exist. The secret will be over." Commander Hyojun entered the room. He was the chief engineer of the fleet. His clothes were dirty from working on the ships. "Admiral, the fleet is ready. All 12 ships have full fuel and weapons." Jin-Ho thought about the choice he had to make. For years, Earth's leaders had debated when to reveal themselves to the galaxy. Some wanted to wait and watch longer. Others wanted to make peaceful contact with friendly aliens first. But now there were aliens who needed help right away. Children were dying while Earth's leaders sat in meetings and talked about plans. "How long to reach New Kepler?" Jin-Ho asked. Hyojun checked his tablet. 6 days with our new engines, sir. But that's faster than any alien ship we know about." "Good," Jin-Ho said. He made his decision. "Signal the fleet. We launch in 2 hours." Mi-young stood up. "Admiral, Earth Command hasn't approved this mission." Jin-Ho looked at her with hard eyes. "Captain, when humans hear a cry for help, we answer. That's who we are. Earth Command can complain later." On New Kepler, the alien Chithan ran through the burning streets of his city. Behind him, metal monsters chased with red glowing eyes. The iron swarm had come in the night like a storm of death. Chitin was a Thrakari, an insect-like being with 4 arms and smooth brown skin. His people were miners and builders. They had never hurt anyone. They just wanted to dig in the ground and raise their young in peace. But peace meant nothing to the iron swarm. A laser blast hit the wall near Chitin's head. Hot stone fell on his back. He kept running toward the communication center. If he could send one more message, maybe someone would hear. Maybe someone would care. Inside the center, other Thrakari worked at damaged computers. Their city was dying around them, but they would not stop trying. The message is still broadcasting, one of them said. But no one has answered. Chitin felt his hope fading. The Galactic Council was far away. Even if they wanted to help, their ships were too slow. The Council had never fought a real war. They would not know how to stop the iron swarm. Outside, he heard the sound of metal feet marching. The cyborgs were coming closer. Soon they would break down the doors and turn everyone into machines like themselves. Back on the human space station, Jinho stood on the bridge of his ship. The indomitable Spirit was the pride of Earth's secret fleet. It was built thick and strong, designed to survive anything space could throw at it. Human ships had to be tough because humans came from a tough world. "All ships report ready, Admiral," Mi-young said. Jinho looked at his fleet on the main screen. 12 ships filled with the best weapons and armor Earth could build. Each ship carried soldiers who had trained their whole lives for war. Earth had made its children into warriors because Earth itself was a battlefield. "Open a channel to all ships," Jinho ordered. The faces of his ship captains appeared on screen. These men and women had volunteered to risk everything for aliens they had never met. "Today we make first contact with alien life," Jinho said. "But we're not going as diplomats or explorers. We're going as rescuers. Somewhere in the dark, people are dying. They called for help and we're going to answer." He paused and looked at each face on the screen. "The aliens don't know us yet. They don't know that humans come from a world that makes warriors out of children. They don't know that when we hear someone scream for help, we come running with everything we have. Today they'll learn." The fleet activated their engines. Space bent around the ships as they jumped toward New Kepler. Behind them, Earth turned in the darkness, unaware that its children were about to announce themselves to the galaxy. In 6 days, the universe would learn what it meant to ask humans for help. 3 months after the Battle of New Kepler, the galaxy was a very different place. The news of humanity's victory had spread to every civilized world. On peaceful planets, people celebrated the defeat of the Iron Swarm. But in the halls of government, alien leaders whispered nervously about the new species that had appeared from nowhere. Captain Mi-young stood on the bridge of a new ship, the Ambassador's Hope. It was smaller than the Indomitable Spirit, built for exploration and diplomacy rather than war, but it still carried the thick armor and powerful weapons that marked all human vessels. She was returning to New Kepler, but this time, her mission was not to fight. It was to begin humanity's first formal relationship with an alien species. "Captain," her communications officer said, "we're receiving a message from New Kepler." "It's Chitin," Mi-young smiled. In the month since the battle, she had exchanged many messages with the Thrakari leader. He had become something like a friend, despite the vast distance between their worlds. "Put him through," she said. Chitin's insectoid face appeared on the main screen. Behind him, Mi-young could see the rebuilt city of New Kepler. The Thrakari had worked hard to repair the damage from the Iron Swarm attack. "Captain Mi-young," Chitin said, "welcome back to New Kepler. My people are eager to see you again." "We're happy to be here, Chitin. How is the reconstruction going?" "Better than expected. We found something in the ruins that we think will interest you very much." Mi-young raised an eyebrow. "What kind of something?" "The Iron Swarm left behind some of their technology when they retreated. Our engineers have been studying it. We think it might be useful for building better ships and weapons." This was important news. The Iron Swarm had been one of the most advanced military forces in the galaxy. Their technology could help both humans and Thrakari defend themselves against future threats. "We'd be very interested in sharing research," Mi-young said. "In exchange, we can offer human engineering techniques." Commander Hyo-jun, who had been promoted after Admiral Jin-ho returned to Earth, was now in charge of the human embassy on New Kepler. His job was to build bridges between the two species and learn everything he could about alien technology. He had discovered that working with aliens was both easier and harder than he had expected. The Thrakari were brilliant engineers, but they thought about problems very differently than humans did. The difference, Hyojun explained to his team, is that they come from a safe world. When they build something, they assume it will be used in perfect conditions. When we build something, we assume everything will go wrong at the worst possible moment. His chief assistant, Lieutenant Dongwook, looked up from an alien computer design. So their technology is more elegant, but our technology is more reliable? Exactly. If we can combine Thrakari elegance with human durability, we'll create something better than either species could build alone. This cooperation was already producing results. The new ships being built in Earth's orbital shipyards incorporated Thrakari energy systems with human armor and weapons. The result was vessels that were both more powerful and more efficient than anything humanity had built before. But not everyone in the galaxy was happy about human Thrakari cooperation. On the Galactic Council station, Veltar listened to heated debates about the new species. The same alien who had first detected the Thrakari distress call was now struggling with the political aftermath of humanity's response. The humans are dangerous, insisted Counselor Vexhai of the Zephyrin Empire. They have weapons that can destroy entire fleets. They come from what our scientists classify as a Class 2 death world. No civilization should be able to survive on such a planet, yet they thrive there. But they use those weapons to save innocent lives, Veltar argued. The Iron Swarm had attacked 17 worlds before the humans stopped them. How many more would have died if they had not intervened? That's not the point, Vexhai replied. The point is that they exist, a species of warriors with advanced technology and no respect for proper diplomatic procedure. They didn't even contact the Council before launching their attack. Veltar felt frustrated. The Galactic Council was supposed to protect peaceful species, but it had done nothing to help the Thrakari. It had taken a species of dangerous aliens to actually solve the problem. What do you propose we do? Veltar asked. They saved lives. They defeated a threat that we had ignored for years. Should we punish them for doing what was right? The debate continued for hours with no clear resolution. Some council members wanted to welcome humanity as a new ally. Others wanted to treat them as a potential threat. A few suggested trying to limit human expansion through diplomatic pressure, but while the council talked, the rest of the galaxy was making its own decisions about humanity. On the mining world of Kepler-7, the local government received a message from Earth offering to establish a trade agreement. The miners had heard the stories about human ships and human soldiers. They were eager to have such powerful friends. On the agricultural world of New Eden, farmers who had been raided by pirates sent their own message to Earth, asking for protection. They offered to pay for human patrol ships with food and raw materials. Even criminal organizations were reacting to humanity's presence. The Crimson Syndicate, a group of space pirates, issued orders to all their ships. Avoid any system where humans might be present. The destruction of the Iron Swarm had sent a clear message about what happened to those who preyed on the innocent. Back on New Kepler, Captain Myung was learning about Thrakari culture firsthand. She walked through the rebuilt city with Chithan, observing how the aliens lived and worked. Your people are remarkable, she told him. You've rebuilt everything so quickly. We had motivation, Chithan replied. And we had help. He gestured to a group of human engineers working alongside Thrakari builders. The two species were constructing a new type of defensive platform, one that combined human durability with Thrakari efficiency. This cooperation, Chithan continued. It feels right. We complement each other. Your people are strong where we are weak, and we are skilled where you need improvement. Myung nodded. That's what makes good allies. Not being the same, but being better together. They walked past a memorial that the Thrakari had built to honor the crew of the Eternal Guardian. The names of all the humans who had died saving New Kepler were carved in both Thrakari script and English letters. They will never be forgotten, Chithan said quietly. Our children will learn their names. Their sacrifice will be remembered as long as our species exists. Myung felt a tear in her eye. Commander Jae-won and his crew had become heroes to an entire alien civilization. Their deaths had meaning that would last for generations. Chithan, she said, we need to talk about something serious. Earth wants to make you an offer. What kind of offer? A formal alliance. Not just trade and cooperation, but a mutual defense pact. If anyone attacks the Thrakari, Earth will help defend you. If anyone attacks Earth, we hope you will help defend us. Chithan stopped walking. This was a huge decision. An alliance with humanity would change the Thrakari forever. They would no longer be just peaceful miners and builders. They would be partners with the galaxy's newest and most powerful military force. What would this alliance mean? He asked. It means we share technology and resources. It means we help each other explore the galaxy and make contact with new species. It means that neither of our peoples will ever face threats alone again. Chithan thought about his people's recent experience with the Iron Swarm. They had been helpless until the humans arrived. An alliance would ensure they never faced such danger again. I will have to discuss this with our government, he said, but I think the answer will be yes. You risked everything to save us. Now we want to stand beside you. 6 months later, the first official Earth-Thrakari Alliance Treaty was signed in a ceremony broadcast across both worlds. Admiral Jinho represented Earth while Chithan spoke for his people. Today, Jinho said, 2 species become 1 people. We may look different, we may come from different worlds, but we share the same values. We believe in protecting the innocent, helping those in need, and standing together against darkness. The alliance had immediate effects. Human ships began patrolling Thrakari space, while Thrakari engineers worked in Earth shipyards. New technologies emerged from their cooperation, including better engines, stronger armor, and more efficient weapons. But the most important effect was psychological. Neither species was alone in the galaxy anymore. Humans had found allies who shared their values, and the Thrakari had found protectors who would never abandon them. The news of the alliance spread across the galaxy, causing different reactions in different places. Peaceful species began sending their own diplomatic messages to Earth, hoping to build similar relationships. Criminal organizations became more cautious, knowing that attacking human allies would bring swift retaliation. And on the Galactic Council Station, the debates continued. The humans are building an alliance network, Councillor Vexhai warned. Soon they will have enough allies to challenge the Council's authority. Good, Veltar replied. Maybe it's time the Council had some competition. Maybe it's time we had leaders who actually solve problems instead of just talking about them.